Hey everyone, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. You guys know what time it is. We're going to be talking about XRP. Happy Tuesday wherever you are around the world. So looking across the board, we're seeing a retracement for the broader market. A few coins that are up, but majority of the market is down right now, about 5 to 6%, depending on which coin you're looking at. XRP is down about 2.3%, so holding better than the broader market. Once again, really showing us, how strong the overall momentum XRP really has right now. The price currently for XRP is at $2.18, down about 0.5% in Bitcoin comparative. Valuation at $128.6 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume is approaching about $4 billion. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in cryptocurrencies. And before I get started, I just want to say, happy Canada Day to all the Canadians out there. I know there's a lot of Canadian followers on my channel. So, shout out to you guys. Hope you guys are having a wonderful time. So take a look at this. Net Bitcoin flows for public companies and ETFs. So public companies are outpacing, the ETFs and Bitcoin buying for the third straight quarter, adding 131,000 Bitcoin. And this is something, of course, a lot of people overlook, but you can really see big companies and public companies are actually adding Bitcoin onto their balance sheets. And this is coming from a credible source, which again is from Bitcoin treasuries. So that really tells you everything. Of course, a lot of people are going to come out and say, well, 2024 quarter four had a lot of accumulation. Why is quarter three not as much? Because, of course, this is where, that boom happened. Altcoins really went off. Trump was elected. So, that really brought in a lot of excitement, within the crypto space. But it's still, once again, accumulation happening, for Bitcoin from these public companies, meaning inflows are coming, like major amounts of capital is coming into the ETFs from these public companies that are wanting to obviously obtain Bitcoin. And moving forward, so, Bitcoin is forecast to hit a new all-time high in July. As historical data shows, strong risk asset returns this month. Bitcoin has never lost over 10% in July, and the S&P 500 posting gains 10 years in a row, which is quite impressive for the month of July. That's insane. So are we going to see BTC breaking towards an all-time high? I'm not writing it off because Bitcoin is already on the verge of breaking an all-time high. So, again, historically speaking, if we're looking at the bull market years, even if you're looking at some of the bear market levels, you have seen July be a good month for, the crypto space. And of course, you could really see what happens for the crypto space generally in the bullish trend in, quarter four of, every year. You could see, we see quite large increases. Of course, right now, a double-digit gain for Bitcoin would require, quite a large move. If you want to put that into perspective, we can actually take a look at it right now, and then I'm going to obviously continue to talk to you guys about what's going on. So you can see from here, let's just say hypothetically speaking, a 10% move happens. That itself would put Bitcoin at around $116,400, which again, from the all-time high perspective, if you kind of measure from an all-time high perspective, that's only about a 4% move. So I'm not writing it off based off of what Bitcoin's doing, but look at this. The SEC approves conversion of Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund into an ETF for XRP. So, that obviously consists of BTC, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. And of course, aside from BTC, what's the similarity between the other coins? They're all US-based coins. So are these types of ETFs going to be tax exempt, or are some of these coins going to be tax exempt in terms of capital gains? That's obviously something up in the air pretty much since Trump has been elected. People are really excited about that, and it does make sense in terms of making US the global hub for crypto, because any country can, to be honest, make their country the global hub. But in order for US to win that, they would need to introduce something like that, some sort of an incentive for investors, or else and even developers, because these developers can literally shift and go anywhere in the globe, and that was what was happening before clarity started to come towards the crypto industry in the US. But look at this, with the spot Grayscale ETF approved, it means the standalone XRP ETFs are guaranteed to be approved. In my opinion, I think this is inevitable. It's going to happen regardless. if you're looking at analysts across the board, from a lot of different companies, a lot of them are projecting that we are going to see the year of 2025 be a year where we see all these ETFs finally getting approved. So not just for XRP, but Solana, Litecoin, and so on. So in terms of timing, I think we want to see that lawsuit. It's in terms of the XRP side of things, the lawsuit is already over. We know about that settlement that has been just announced about 2 to 3 days ago. So that really gives us a better understanding that, that in terms of the lawsuit itself, we're literally at the, end part. But with the rate cut, it's still yet to happen. We need to see the FOMC meeting that's coming up this month. If we see that rate cut, I think, we start early and Bitcoin breaks towards an all-time high. Altcoins start pushing up. But if we don't, then, of course, we got to kind of start paying attention to September because that is when the next rate cut will happen. But moving forward, speaking about that, the boom is coming. Companies planning to add XRP to their treasuries. You guys can see there are companies across, the board, and these are companies around the world that are wanting to do that. China, UK, a bunch of US companies, Canada, Canadian company, also another US company. These guys want to add XRP to their treasury, which of course means they will need to have money to purchase this XRP. And you can see, XRP treasury, they have, I think, what was the last one? Vivo Power was the last one. And Webis.vip was the one that was announcing this. So again, just a continuous reminder, and XRP ETF filings with the SEC, you can really see a lot of them happening. Obviously, the big boys are still missing. We're missing BlackRock. BlackRock is still not on board. Fidelity is still not on board, but I think, they are coming sooner rather than later. But, Franklin Templeton, the biggest one, without a doubt. I remember when this was announced, I indicated to you guys how big of a deal this really is. And I don't want you guys to underestimate, the power of this. If you think that Fidelity and BlackRock are not paying attention to this, I hope you guys are looking at it from a different angle. They definitely are aware of this, and they are definitely going to come on board. I think they're just strategically, planning this, how they're going to execute this, because of course, just them coming and filing for an ETF, think about it. We're talking about arguably two of the largest asset managers across the world. And if they come on board and they file for an ETF, guess what? The price is going to have a positive reaction just for the announcement itself that they're filing for it. We're not even talking about an approval. So they got to move strategically, and I think that's what's happening, but they are well aware as to what's happening. And I think, it's just a matter of time once they come on board as well. And remember, American Express is a long-time Ripple partner. They were running all domestic transactions through RippleNet, fiat messaging. And you can see, we're taking a huge step forward in American Express and Standard and solving the problems corporate customers experience with global payments. Transfers that used to take days will be completed in real time, allowing money to move as fast as business today. So Gerlinghouse said this. Both American Express and Standard suggest that blockchain project could eventually be extended worldwide. And this is where, of course, Ripple comes on board. Now, if you're looking at the market, we have seen the dominance go from 65% up to 65.5%. If you're looking at BTC, Bitcoin has dropped below the 106,800. We're currently sitting at 105,800 support line. We do have significant amount of support around this range, but I really want to see the price of Bitcoin above 106,800. Very, very important level. We've seen this time and time out as to how important that key resistance really is. I've showed this to you guys before. So at this point, there's no need for a confirmation. We know the significance of that. I would love to see, we still have a lot of time until the daily candle close. I would love to see the price pushing back up to that range. If you're looking at XRP, still holding really good around the $2.17. Of course, it has seen a retracement due to dominance going up in Bitcoin, seeing a little bit of a minor pullback. Still, I want to see that $2.33 wick being filled in. Very, very important. If we're able to break out of that, like I said, that's where that confirmation lies for us. But let me know down below in the comments what you guys personally think. If you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? We'll see you later. It's been Crypto ZX, and peace out.